Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode, I think, 31 of the Here to Speak podcast. I'm about to stop naming numbers at this point. As always, I'm Shaquan Scott, here with my bro Dom.
Excuse me.
Today, we got a very special guest, extremely high profile. I mean, she almost charged us to come in today.
Bringing class to the pod.
Class to the pod. You see how she coming in here dressed.
Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miss Jaleisha Walker. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good.
We living. First off, I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Now officially
Congratulations, dope.
attorney Jay Walker.
Thank you. Yes.
That's dope.
That's what's up. How does it feel?
I mean, this is like something that I always wanted to do since like elementary school. So it felt good. Like when I passed the bar, I was like excited and stuff. But now I just feel like back to regular. Like nothing special. But I guess it's special. But I feel
Don't say yourself.
I feel
That's
regular.
special.
That's what I'm saying. I feel regular.
Yeah, that's dope. I don't know many lawyers or attorneys. Is there a difference between a lawyer and an attorney?
Yeah. So
Okay.
a lawyer is like, well, your degree that you graduate with
Yeah.
is your Juris Doctor. So you pretty much graduated law school. So you can give legal advice, but you can't really take on cases in practice. An attorney is once you pass the bar exam and you're sworn in, then you're an attorney.
Okay, so it's disrespectful to address an attorney as a lawyer.
Not really, because I'm still considered a lawyer too.
Okay,
I
okay.
could still give the legal advice, but I could also go ahead and take on your cases and stuff as an attorney.
Okay.
Well, for the people that don't know you, this floor is yours to give people a little background about who you are as a person. And like you said, if you want to get into what piqued your interest since elementary school to make you pursue the career path that you chose, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, like they said, my name is Jaleisha. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I actually grew up on the east side, and then I moved to the south side of Fort Wayne. And I went to, I don't know if y'all know of Hoagland Elementary School. It's like way out.
Yeah.
I think it's closed now, actually. And then I went to Lakeside, and then I went to Harding, and when it closed, I went to Snyder with y'all. And then in undergrad, I went off to IU, and I studied criminal justice. I knew that I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney at the time, so I did criminal justice, and I minored in sociology and African diaspora studies. So actually, my first year of applying to law schools, I didn't get into any of the schools that I wanted to go to, and I met with he was the dean of admissions at IU Law School. So I didn't want to go to IU Law School. I didn't want to go back to a PWI. I wanted to go to a HBCU, and I applied to Howard. Didn't get in, so I took a year off to work, and then I studied more for the LSAT, and I applied to TSU in Texas. So I wanted to go to a black college. I wanted to live in a big city, and I wanted to go where it was warm. So that was like perfect location. And I got accepted into there. I actually graduated early, a semester early.
Okay,
And I graduated with honors, and then took the New York bar, just found out that I passed, so now I'm here.
Congratulations. That's dope.
That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
What made you want to go to a HBU so bad? Like, what did that mean to you to go there?
So my sophomore year at high school, have y'all ever heard of the Black College Club Tour?
Mm-hmm.
I went on that, and we toured all the schools, and I was like, ooh, I want to go to a black college. I want to go to a black college, but I was a 21st century scholar, so my mom was like, no, you going to an Indiana school, it's free, you're going to go to school here.
You got to respect that.
Yeah, so I did that, and then by the time, I mean, I had a lot of fun at IU, but by senior year, I was just like, man, I really want to be around more black people and stuff like that. And when I moved to Houston, it was actually a culture shock to me because, up here, I didn't know a black lawyer growing up. I don't know if y'all did, black doctors, any of that. That's like the norm down there. Like, It's a lot of self-made black millionaires down there. They parents, people I went to school with, they parents is lawyers, their parents went to our school, their parents are doctors, engineers, stuff like that. So that's normal to them. And I'm like, yeah, where I'm from, I'm like the only person, especially from my neighborhood, that's doing what I'm doing. So yeah, that's why I chose to go to HBCU.
That's cool, man.
That's dope. And like I said, that's something to be applauded too, especially being from here. You don't see too much of that. Let alone you are a black woman succeeding or about to succeed because you can speak it into existence, but doing what you're doing, that alone in its own right, especially from here, I commend you for that because you don't see a lot of that.
Yeah, didn't see it at all. And I didn't really have, like, anybody to ask questions while I was doing it because when I didn't get accepted the first round, I was just, like, a little discouraged, like, dang, maybe, law school not for me. And I just started working. I think I was making, I don't even care about saying how much I was making, like 20-something thousand a year with my bachelor's degree. And I hated the job. And I was like, oh my God, this is not for me. I got to figure something out. And I'm like, I know I'm not dumb. So I just when it came to taking the LSAT, it was just like, it was one part on there. So if you're really good at math, you can be really good at law school in the LSAT. I'm not that good at math. I'm like an English person.
You can count me out.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of like analytical and critical thinking, and it was called the logic games. It was just that one section. I could not figure it out. Like they'll give you like a fact pattern, but they leaving things out, and you got to figure out the missing things. And you get 25 minutes for 4 games. And it go by super fast, and it's just like I could not figure that out, so I couldn't really get a high score. And then when I actually took more time after undergrad and studied it on my own, I finally figured it out. But that was the hardest part, and it's like I didn't have nobody to ask for guidance and stuff like that, because once again, like here, we don't. I didn't know no lawyers at all. So everything was just trial and error, really.
Wow. That was interesting. If you can speak more on that, because you really were confronted with a crossroad with that year off. Like, I just figure something out, or do I just double down and go all in with this? And you chose to go all in. Like, can you like elaborate on that, like your mindset during that time?
And what you did during that time period?
Oh my God, it was horrible. So I moved to Indianapolis for the year after I graduated from IU, and the first job that I took on, they didn't have like many job offers for criminal justice degrees, first of all. So that's a word of advice for anybody going to college. Pick your major wisely. Like, if you're not going to be a doctor or a lawyer, then go be like an engineer or pick a business major or something if you want to make good money coming out and you don't plan on working for yourself, because I could not find a job that would pay me well, or the job that I took wasn't even really criminal justice. So I can't remember the exact name of it, but I was working at a high school through the program with kids with mental health issues. And it was just so funny to me too, because the black kids at the high school who were in the program, they kept wanting to come to me and speak with me, and the 2 ladies I worked with, they weren't black. So I guess, they started to feel a type of way about that, and they took it to like the head people of the company and were saying like, it was one specific young black boy, like, he had problems at home, so he would always just come down and try to talk to me like, Miss Jaleisha, can I talk to you about this, and this? And I'd just be like, yeah, it's my job. And they actually told like the higher ups, oh, he comes down and flirts with her all the time and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
And I had to have a meeting with them. They were asking me like, has he ever been to my house and all of this crazy stuff? And I just ended up quitting the job. Like, I didn't give them a 2 weeks notice or nothing. After the meeting, I just walked out like, I don't know, it just really blew me. Like, I'm just trying to help, a younger black kid. At the time, I think I was 23 and he was about to be 18. Like, we close in age kind of, so I can relate to you, but why would I allow him to come to my house or something like that?
Right.
It was just dumb.
So disrespectful.
That is.
So I quit that and I went back to a job that I worked in undergrad. So when I was in undergrad, I was working like 2 jobs and interning at a law firm while I was a student. So one of the jobs I did home health aid with elderly people. So I picked that job back up. And then I worked at, it was like a women's work release facility. I was just working those 2 jobs and studying for the LSAT, because I was just like, it's no way this is about to be my life. Like, I'm going back to school. I'm going to figure something out. And
that was motivation.
Went back and took the LSAT and got into the school. So I was just like, yeah, something had to give, because I couldn't do it.
That's dope, though, because like I said, you had a real crossroad and you bet on yourself.
Yeah, it was a real struggle.
I bet.
But I feel like if I would have had guidance, like somebody to walk me through what I was supposed to do, it could have been a whole lot smoother and a whole lot easier. Like, it was a lot of stuff that I could have avoided.
So once you got into law school, what was that journey like?
Oh my God, it was so hard. So I was thinking too, like, it's at HBCU. They probably don't ever think that. I was just thinking like I wouldn't be as challenged. They actually challenge you more, because that's the expectation, I guess, that people have of them. Like, oh, it's not a PWI, so it's not going to be as difficult. It won't be as hard to learn. You can breeze through this. You definitely couldn't breeze through it. So my first year, at every law school, all law students take the same classes in their first year. But you don't just get to stay in law school. Like, you don't just get passed on. You have to get a certain GPA. So after my first year, I know like at least 50 students curved out before we went into our set. So you called a 1L your first year. I was a 1L. And then I went into my 2L year. About 50 of my classmates had curved out. And 2L year was actually the hardest year. So that your 1L year, your classes are broken up into 2 semesters. So you take like contracts, property law, criminal law, all of that stuff. It's broken into 2 semesters, so it's slower. Your second year, you have more work in each class, and you learning it all in 1 semester then. So it's a whole lot faster. And then it was stuff that I didn't know about law school, like people hear lawyer and just think, oh, you're going to make a lot of money after school. No, you have to, for those jobs that pay you a lot, you have to be like top of your class. And then, first summer after law school, you have to start interviewing for your second summer job. And these were just things that I didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had enrolled in summer school my 1L year. After my 1L year, I went straight to summer school. And I wasn't thinking about no job for the next year and stuff like that. But I did get 2 good internships my first summer. I did a criminal law internship in Houston, and then I was offered an internship. I don't know if y'all know Jordan Howard. He played football for IU.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
Played for the Bears. Huh?
Yeah, well, he played for the Eagles now.
Eagles now.
Yeah,
Okay.
But he was my classmate at IU, so he hooked me up with his sports agents because I wanted to learn about sports law, and they offered me an internship in DC at their agency, but I couldn't take it because my 1L summer, you can't take on internships for a class credit, and they only offered a class credit, but I still got to go out there and spend like a week with them and shadow them. It was super dope. So that's when I was just like, oh, yeah, I want to do sports law. Like, I want to move more into the sports area because I thought I was going to do criminal defense. And I was just like, nah, this is a little depressing. So just that setting. So I went out to D.C. I enjoyed my time with them. And it's called the Sports and Entertainment Group. It's an all-black sports agency. Super nice, super dope, super up to par. Like, they got big clientele. So shout out to them. Like, they dope. Yeah. And then... but yeah, my 2L year was the hardest year. It's like, I don't even remember how many nights I spent in the library to like, I could tell you my schedule. I would get up at like 6 in the morning, get dressed, get to school by 7, stay there from 7 to 9. I'm studying in the morning before class. Wow. 9 to 5, we in classes for the most part. After 5, I'll probably go get some food, come back, and stay in the library till midnight. And then that was just like an everyday thing. And then Saturday and Sunday is like you get up early, you spend your whole Saturday and your whole Sunday at the library preparing for the next week. Like, it was...
You got to sacrifice.
You don't have no life for real. Like, I only see my family twice a year for a week in the summer and Christmas break. Like, that was it. And then... I mean, we was law students, so we was sneaking in the partying and stuff. Like, you can party every now and then, but you can't get caught up in the partying because it's going to reflect on your grades. Yeah. And then by the time I got to my last year, my 3L year, that was easy. That was the easiest year because it's just like you just finishing out credits at this point. So you're taking electives and stuff, but it was a lot.
That's interesting what you said about, people automatically hear lawyer and think you're going to get paid a lot of money. Because at one point in time, I feel like I heard there's like a surplus of lawyers. So it's like, but from what you just told me about the difference between lawyers and attorneys, I assume that meant like there's all these lawyers, but not all of them are at that attorney level yet.
No. So that's not what it is.
Okay,
so
I'm done.
I guess now it's a lot of people that go to law school. So I guess what they were telling you meaning is just oversaturated. It's not enough jobs for the amount of people who need to get a job once they graduate law school. But even when I graduated, like I was looking at jobs and stuff. I was already working at a firm. I was working at a firm, and then I was just working at another firm. So I was just doing both of those as document review because I knew I wanted to work for myself. But when I was looking at jobs to apply to, like they start some lawyers off at like $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and I'm just like, that's crazy to me. Like, I don't feel like any lawyer should be started under $100,000 because you just went to school for 7 years. Like or 8 years. No, it's 7 for undergrad, 3 law school. That's 7, right? I don't do math.
I was about to say.
I want to go check it.
I'm like, lawyer. I ain't gonna argue with you.
Right, the lawyer, not the engineer. I don't do the math, but yeah. So that was another thing too. One of my reasons for going to law school is just that I like to have control over myself. So I knew, like, with a law degree, I wouldn't necessarily have to work for nobody. So that's the reason I chose it too.
Hitting on one of my questions that I had in terms of your focus, which is sports law. But prior to that, I always thought once you like graduate or pass the bar, an attorney is like all fields. So like if I had some parking tickets I need help with, like, can you help out with that, or no? You just strictly what you like focus on.
I mean, a lawyer can help out with whatever they want to help out with, but I'm not licensed in Indiana. So it's different with your licensing. You have the Uniform Bar Exam, which we call a UBE. Texas just adopted it. So this this last test, the scores just came out last week, but this last test was their first UBE exam, and I knew that they were going to do that. So I took the New York bar. Since it's UBE, I can transfer my scores to like 50 different states. Okay. But when I took it, we were in COVID. So it's called reciprocity. They had to enter into reciprocity agreements with people. So I didn't get to do all the 50 states. I only get like 12 states that I could transfer to, but Texas was one of them, so it was good. Indiana still one of the states that have their own bar exam, so you can't transfer nothing here. But after 5 years, I could waive into here. So if you get a ticket after 5 years, I got you. But right now, I can't help you.
No, you good. I was just always curious about that though, because that's one of the things I never really truly understood about that.
Yeah, but if somebody accept a job and sign on a contract like with a big law firm or something like that, in the contract 9 times out of 10 it's gonna say that they can't work outside of here without bringing the business into the firm. So if they don't take on little civil suits where they do ticketing or something, and they only work in like mergers and acquisitions, stuff like that, no, they can't help you. Oh, okay. Yeah, but if you got your own firm, you can pick up any type of case you want to.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that at all.
That's what. See, that's the question. Hopefully, you learned something here today. But okay.
No, go ahead.
Sports law. I know you kind of hinted at it. Like, okay, so now where are you at with that whole realm of it? Like, are you actively with somebody, or like how does that work out in terms of growing your clientele and whatnot?
Yeah, so right now I passed the bar, so it's a lot of stuff you got to do besides pass the bar. I passed the bar. I had to take the MPRE, which is a professional exam for all law students. I had to transfer those scores to New York, and then I also had to take the New York law exam, which I just passed in March. So after taking those 3 exams, then you have to send in paperwork, and they got to run your background, it's called character and fitness. They check all your work history, all of that stuff, pro bono hours, meaning, free work that you did for people. You got to do at least 50 hours, and just all this paperwork you got to fill out. Send it into the courts, and now I'm just waiting on them to hit me back up for my interview so I can get sworn in, and then I'm officially done.
Wow.
Okay.
But
still,
yeah, but outside of that process, the things that I have been doing don't necessarily require me to have a law degree, but it's stuff that I learned in law school. So like, as of right now, I've been helping people who want to start businesses with like filing their LLCs and stuff like that. So I filed LLCs. You don't have to be an attorney to do that. But in law school, I took business law class, which taught us everything about all different types of businesses, from LLCs to limited partnerships, general partnerships, corporations, all of that stuff. So it's definitely better to have a lawyer. I know people can just file their own LLC, but it's better to have a lawyer do it so it can be properly set up, and then you can appoint the lawyer as your agent. Because I know for sure in Indiana, every 2 years you have to report your finances to the Secretary of State, or they'll dissolve your business. Wow. And when they send that paperwork out, they can send it out to your attorney, who is your agent, and you can make sure that you're doing everything properly. Like, when I tell people how much I charge and stuff, they like, you taxing, you doing too much. Really, I cut deals in Indiana. I've been cutting everybody in Indiana deals because I just feel like ain't no black lawyers here to really look out. So I'm look out for my people. But outside of here, I charge much more. So it's just like, I'm a lawyer. I went to school for 7 years. I'm gonna charge what I'm worth. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, but it's just the smarter route to go. And then with another attorney who graduated from my school, he's been licensed though. I'm up under him, but I help file trademarks too, so you can make sure your brand is legally protected. Nobody can come in, steal your logo, steal your slogan, or anything like that, and promote their own business under what you thought you owned. And then, so I do that for people who aren't athletes, but then that's a part of what I'm doing for athletes too. So with athletes, I build their brands outside of being an athlete, but just in the legal aspect. So I definitely recommend anybody who does business to do it under an LLC name. It protects your personal assets. So, if you ever did anything wrong or just anything in the business aspect, everyone left, they won't come after your personal assets. They can only come after whatever you have under the LLC financially. So it's the smarter route to go. Like, people buy houses in LLC. LLC is considered a person, if you didn't know that. Yeah, so you can be sued or sue under an LLC name. You can buy a house, a car, whatever. If you operate as a business, you can do everything in an LLC name. So I definitely recommend that.
Very informative.
And then outside of that, with them, I draft contracts, review their contracts, negotiate contracts, not their actual league contracts. I don't do those, but just when they are offered endorsements from different brands and stuff, and then getting a marketing deal. So, shout out to my best friend Rod Smith. Currently working with him. Just actually got him a marketing deal with Lionhearted Sports, and shout out to them too. Just did their trademark. But yeah, so he's my first athlete that I'm working with right now. And something else, I don't know if y'all heard of name, image, and likeness and the law that's supposed to pass with the NCAA.
Yeah. That's supposed to go into effect this upcoming
I was just about to say
school year, right? Academic year.
Well, we could talk about that. What happened was California kind of kicked it off, saying, we're going to let our college athletes be paid. And then I know Florida said something too. And I think they said by 2022 they were going to start allowing it. But, this is all under NCAA rules. So the NCAA had an issue with that. So there's actually a case pending in the Supreme Court right now about this. That's what the holdup is, because the NCAA was supposed to vote on this in January, and it was supposed to go into effect, but they suspended the vote indefinitely. And what the issue is, this is something that we learn in constitutional law. You have state law and you have federal law. So the state laws where California and Florida and all of these other states are just saying, yeah, we're going to let them make the money. But then when the federal law comes in, it can trump the state law and block it out. So now there's an antitrust issue that's going on in the Supreme Court. So that's still under litigation right now, which is why none of these athletes have started being paid yet. But that's where I wanted to come in at and work with. Of course, I want to work with professional athletes, but I wanted to work with the college athletes too, because I can't remember the exact number, but I know last year I read something that said the NCAA made like $1.8 billion off of the college athletes, and what those college athletes take home? Nothing. But you bring in all that revenue, and then people always say, "Oh, but you getting free tuition."
If that law eventually gets passed, could you see people like that going back and collecting money that they're owed, or no? Is that not realistic?
That's a great question.
I'm not 100% sure if they can do that, but I know there's a guy, I can't even remember the exact facts of his case, but he just actually won against the NCAA and got a huge payout from something that happened with him in college. So it's a possibility, but I'm not sure if they can do that. But you can always appeal a case. So it just depends. There's a statute of limitations. So if it was 9 times out of 10, if it was over 2 years ago, then no.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot.
That's terrible.
A lot of people lost stuff. Yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah, I know. But then there's sometimes when new evidence or new laws pass, then it can make a change. Then sometimes you may be able to bring it back. But, again, it's probably just based off the statute of limitations. They probably won't let them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That sucks. Bad.
Well, I mean, like, especially, I don't want to get into this, but today's athletes, you always hear like the misconceptions of, because here we are sitting across from you, we can learn so much. Is that something that you pride yourself on, putting that on the forefront of what you're trying to get across to these athletes in terms of what you can actually teach them in terms of the LLCs and the whatnot and the intricate, because I never knew it was that intricate. And so in order to, like I said, protect all their assets and whatnot, I highly doubt somebody coming out of college is really that forward thinking in that. And so is that something you could say you hang your hat on in terms of the things that you could offer versus what other agents or somebody else who's doing something similar to what you're doing can offer?
Yeah, I think so, because I'm not doing anything that the agents do. They negotiate your NFL, your NBA contracts and all of that stuff. So that's not what I want to do. But a lot of times, too, agents aren't required to be attorneys. There are agents who are attorneys, though, and I think that's a smarter route to go because they know contracts very well. But, yeah, I want to teach the athletes or anybody that I work with that's not an athlete just this information because, where we from, this information is just not in front of you like that. So people don't really even know how to go about asking that type of stuff or the first steps to understanding it. So I definitely want to teach the athletes. I can see myself doing before I just be like, yeah, I'm going to take you on and stuff. Like, I want to learn you as a person because I'm building your brand. So, you want your brand to reflect who you are, but I want you to learn in this process too. I want you to learn what this LLC even is, because I always see the little jokes on Twitter like LLC Twitter, LLC Twitter, whatever. Have y'all ever seen that? Like they are just making the little jokes, but you know, it's very beneficial to have an LLC. So, but it's like, what are the benefits? Nobody knows. Or just because you filed the paperwork and you got it now don't mean you keep it forever. So what do you have to do to maintain this LLC? I think that's important for them to know. I think it's important for them to know the contracts they sign and what's in this contract, what it requires, because when I actually got to go out to DC to the sports and entertainment group, what they do is they take their athletes on retreats and they make them sit in, like they have fun, but they have to sit in these classes and learn too at the same time. So what they did while I was there, he had me printing out all of these old, they weren't cases, but just these old athletes who were in the league and how they end up losing all of their money and stuff. You know, not setting up things the right way. Like there was one football player, I can't remember his name, but he bought his mom and his sister a new house, and then he got killed maybe like 2 months later, and they didn't have the money to pay for the stuff, so they end up losing everything. Like everything, you know, he didn't make a will or anything like that. And I don't do probate law, which is where wills and trusts and all of that stuff come in, but whatever client I am working with, I'll make sure the classmates that I have who do practice that now, you need to go sit down, have a meeting with them and set your estate up properly, because you just never know what's going to happen. Same thing when it comes to athletes getting endorsements. All of that money is not yours. You have to pay taxes on these endorsements every year, and that's something they don't understand. So then they'll go blow all of that money. Now you in debt and you owe tax money now and stuff like that. So my whole goal is to just make sure you legally protected all the way around, not just on the things that I do, but even recommending you to other attorneys that I know to make sure you set up very well, because how many times have we seen athletes go and make millions of dollars and then end up broke?
Crazy.
Too many times.
I feel like taxes gets a lot of people. And I don't understand why at all. I'm just like, man.
But I mean, majority of our athletes are black. What black neighborhoods did you see anybody growing up in learning financial, anything about finances? Facts. You don't.
Facts.
And when do we learn that in high school or anything? I took a tax class in law school. That's the only reason I know. And nobody I know went to law school, so they still not gonna know taxes. So it's just like, and then when you do see people getting their taxes done, they got these tax service companies that they put specifically in black neighborhoods to pretty much rip you off. So it's just a lot. It's a lot of stuff that go into it, and I just know like a lot of our. I mean, I grew up around a lot of athletes. I was an athlete myself, and I just know like a lot of our black male athletes, or even the female athletes, sometimes they're not thinking about that type of stuff. They get that money and they ready to blow it, and they always got, you know, they uncle or somebody who gonna watch over everything, and they end up messing it up too. So I think that's another thing that's very important, to have you a financial advisor. Yeah, I work with a financial advisor. Actually, he works with all athletes, and he's actually my financial advisor now because I'm not good with finances. So, you know, and he just tells me stories all the time about like, you know, this person was supposed to meet with me, but they ended up not showing up, blah, 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 blah. Then those people end up in the hole, and they like, how can I get out the hole now? Well, if you would have met with him from day one, you would have never ended up in the hole. So, yeah, that's the goal, though, to protect them all the way around. I want to do it with all black people. I have a black lady who does marketing as well. I reach out to her and send her people sometimes, and then he's the black advisor, and then I'm the black attorney. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, I can already tell, like, this is an episode I'm extremely proud of because, like, for one, everything you just said and just strictly, like, educating people, like, from, I got my LLC, but do they really know what all comes with that? I don't. But here I am. Like I said, I hope people actually get tuned in and, like, learn something from this, because this is tangible knowledge that you said it's not necessarily taught. But here you are, a black woman, teaching us and educating us. And like I said, this is something that is extremely valuable to those who are fortunate enough to be in these positions, but also you want to ensure that they keep what they have. Because you hear those horror stories left and right. Yeah. People who get it and literally lose it. Yeah. And I can't imagine being in that situation, but it's important to really, like I said, take heed to everything that you just said and seek out those resources to, like I said, keep everything intact for not only you, but your family. And so, like I said, I can, again, commend you for everything you know, hang your hat on, because that's dope.
Thank you. Yeah.
As far as being an attorney now, like, being on the other side of passing your bar exam and the other two exams you named, I can't think of the names of them. But
MPRENYLE.
yeah, I didn't know all that went into it at all. So
It's a lot. It's
congratulations,
a lot.
for real. That's a lot. So now you should be on the other side of that. Is there, as far as like your networking for what you've seen, is there like competition amongst like attorneys, or is it more of like almost like a sorority or just a sisterhood or brotherhood of just like, do you see people looking out for each other, or other people trying to tear each other down, or what is it like from your point of view, what you've seen?
Actually, I see a lot of people working together, especially for me. A lot of my classmates don't do what I do. Like, I'm strictly trying to do sports and business. A lot of them do like family law or criminal law or probate law and stuff like that. A lot of us are just in different areas, different practice areas. So it helps a lot that we can work with each other. We refer people to each other all the time. Or, I'll hit one of them up, like somebody asked me to do a contract, like, hey, do you have one of these type of contracts? Boom, they'll shoot it right over. It's never just like, no, this is mine. It's a dog eat dog world. Figure it out yourself. Like, it's never like that. We all pretty much look out for each other, but there's still like I would definitely say it's a great divide in the legal field between Black attorneys and non-Black attorneys. So y'all probably don't know this, but there's only 5% of Black attorneys in the country, and there's only 2% Black women. So, it's a great divide. And then with us, like I said, people thinking you're going to come straight out and just make all of this money. The people who making all of this money are in, they call it big law. So you're in big law firms. And it's very hard for Black people to even get into those law firms. Like, if you go and look at them now, look at their pages, you probably see like 1 or 2 Black people in the whole company, So that area of law or that side is definitely probably dog eat dog world, like figure it out yourself or whatever. But how we all operate, and the people that I graduated from school with, now we all look out for each other for sure.
That's major. Cool. That's major.
Yeah.
Just from what I could see from when you post your stories, you got your own LLCs. I think it's Walker Sports Group and Black Novelists. Is that what? Can you elaborate on
Walker Sports Group LLC?
My bad. I gotta put respect on
So that is it. I'm glad you said that though. So people who have LLCs don't know this, but it's very, 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 very important to always put the LLC afterwards. It can make your contracts that you enter into or anything, it can make them voidable because you're not really acting under the business name. So we learned that in law school.
Good catch. Look at you.
Wow,
Yeah.
I pay attention.
But so Black Novelist was a book club, a Black book club that I started. So like I said in undergrad, one of my minors was African diaspora studies, and I got to learn a lot about Black history throughout the diaspora all around the world. And I was just like, I like some of the books that I read. I learned a lot. It introduced me to a lot of stuff that I never knew about, probably would have never known about. So I started the book club, and it's been doing pretty well. It's kind of starting to trickle down because, people just really don't want to read like that. But it's been good books. Like, so far we read a book that I recommend every Black person to read, especially every Black man, The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. It just teaches you how the prison systems are modern day slavery and all the laws that went into it and all the laws that are still in practice today to keep Black men and women in prison and pretty much being slaves. Like, it's literally slavery. Wow. Yeah. And then we read The Invisible Man, and then we read Michelle Obama's book so far. So it's been pretty cool. And then Walker Sports Group LLC is just my main focus right now, which is what I was saying that I did. I focus on setting up your entities, which I always feel like a LLC is just going to be it for any client that I have. It protects you the most. It's the smartest route to go out of any type of business entity. I don't recommend like general partnerships or anything like that, because if you two have a general partnership and he goes and does something wrong and now y'all owe money to somebody and he can't pay it, you have to pay for it. So
knowing him, he probably would.
But under an LLC, that would never happen. But same with like limited partnerships and stuff, you only limit it to so much of an extent until everybody is still liable. But with an LLC, and don't get me wrong, you can still become liable under an LLC, but it's just a lot harder. So you have to be acting outside. It's called ultra-virus, acting outside the scope of your business. So pretty much like if I say, or you have this business where you do podcasts, right? And that's all you put in your paperwork when you file it, instead of saying you can put a general term, like I want to act under any legal aspect, you know. But if you just say I do podcasting and then you out here doing other stuff that has nothing to do with podcasting, then you can be held personally liable. Or if you engaging in fraud, or if you commingling funds, meaning you don't have a separate business account set up, so you mixing the money with your personal money and going to buy stuff with personal money and then taking the business money and buying yourself cars and stuff like that, then they can dissolve your LLC. So you have to make sure you're not doing stuff like that. And then I also, do the contracts, draft the contracts, review the contracts, the trademarks. And then I definitely loved property law when I was in that class. I did very well in that. So I help athletes in real estate, so I think it's very important to own homes. And you can't, that's another thing, like people be like, oh, I got an LLC, oh, I got a home, okay, but you got to pay property taxes on that property every year, so you got to know what you're doing when it comes to managing those as well. So yeah, those are pretty much the areas that I handle, and I don't only do it for athletes, but that's just my target audience.
That's what's up. Why should a athlete come to Walker Sports Group LLC over a bigger sports agency or somebody that's more established? Why should they choose you?
Choose me? One, because I actually care. So I'm just big on the Black community, like that. I'm just super pro-Black, so I want to see all of my people elevate. I feel like athletes been getting so much money for so long, and we still got a hood in every city. Like, we shouldn't even be in the predicament that we still in. So I'm not here to just be like the face, like, oh yeah, I got these athletes, I'm working with these athletes. Like, no, I want to make sure that whatever assets you bring in, that you either maintain those or accumulate more over time, So I have the education to do it. And, I just want to see us just do better as a community. So I'm really here to help these athletes do better. And the college athletes, I want to make sure they're doing good in school too.
So,
yeah.
So, but no, if you don't mind kind of segueing, because you kind of dropped a little hint on it about the Jim Crow laws and whatnot. Everything that's been going on in today's world, from your perspective, I know.
Sorry, I cut you off. You said you're an athlete. What'd you do?
Volleyball, basketball, and track.
Okay, sis.
I had a track offer in college that I turned down.
Okay.
Oh, she did.
Talk the talk.
No, but what are your thoughts on when you see, for instance, just the Chauvin case that just happened? What's your thoughts on all of that?
So I'm glad that he went to prison, but I'm not satisfied. People say oh, justice was served. Nah, that man's never going home again. He's never going to see his daughter again. The justice would have been him not dying. So, and I think I read something since 2005, there's been 8 officers who've actually been found guilty and had to do prison time. And outside of that, there's been, I could be wrong on this number, but I think it said 15,000 murders though, and only 8 people were convicted. So I feel like with the system, they do this thing where we're going to convict this one person to kill down the energy right now, but then they're going to keep doing what they're doing. What happened right after he was found guilty, a 15, 16-year-old girl got shot 4 times by an officer and died. We couldn't even get a moment to take it in because, boom, something just happened again. And then, what is it, Dante Wright? He's being buried tomorrow. He was just killed by the police. So it's to me, I feel like, I'm not going to say that. Okay, to me, I feel like the laws is what have to change. So I don't know if y'all know about qualified immunity, but one of the firms that I currently work at is a civil rights firm, the Lewis Law Group, PLLC in Houston, and we sue the city and we sue the police department all the time for, beating up our clients really bad, shooting our clients, tasering our clients, just doing unnecessary stuff to them all the time. And most of the stuff is on body cameras. We see all of it, but then again, a lot of these cases get dismissed because of qualified immunity. We literally have them, attacking our clients with no probable cause, searching their cars, and they're not allowed to search the cars just because they feel like it. They didn't see anything in plain view. He didn't give them the consent to search, so they're completely wrong, 100% wrong, and you take it to court, but you have these judges behind the benches who are on the police side. So they're going to dismiss your cases anyway. So I definitely feel like in order to see a change, one, we need to get a lot more Black people into law schools because we need to get Black people into those positions of being judges or getting into Congress and stuff where we can take out a lot of these laws that are still in place. Like, for example, no, we're not in a crack epidemic anymore, but did you know that the mandatory minimum sentencing for crack is higher than coke?
Yeah.
Still to this day, and that's the same drug. And you know why? Because crack was in the black neighborhoods and it was cheap, and coke was in the white neighborhoods or the more expensive neighborhoods. Yeah, so you gonna lock up more black people. It's just little laws like that. There's a lot of laws that are still in place, even with property law. Like, there were laws on us as black people because we were considered property first. We weren't considered a person. Even with the Constitution, when they wrote the Constitution, we were considered 3/4 of a person, like not a person. So that's why you have the amendments. The first 10 are the Bill of Rights. Those weren't written for us. And then all of the laws after that are supposed to be amended. But even with abolishing slavery, it says it's abolished. But if you read more into it, then it says pretty much if you can charge a person with a crime, they can become a slave again, pretty much. Wow. That's what it says. In the basic terms, not in the legal terms, but in the basic terms, that's what it comes down to. So I just feel like what's going on today is still going to be a problem for a very long time if we don't change the laws, the actual laws. That's the problem. And if we don't get rid of qualified immunity, because these officers keep getting off and killing everybody because they know they can depend on qualified immunity. And that bars them from a lot of stuff, from being found guilty on a lot of stuff.
I didn't know that either. That kind of explains why it was Chauvin.
Chauvin.
How you say his name? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why he looked so calm in that video.
Yeah.
I'm in the right.
Yeah.
He didn't look nervous at all. So
it's
crazy. I didn't know that was a thing.
And then I see a lot of people trip when they like, oh, he only got second-degree murder, manslaughter, stuff like that. You never should go after an officer with first-degree murder because so when you're trying to do murder charges, you have to prove the elements. And with elements of first-degree murder, you have to prove that it was premeditated or he deliberated. And you can't really prove that with them just pulling up shooting. To prove premeditation, you have to be like, oh, this person was stalking this person for a while. They thought this out. They planned this out. They left, went and got a gun and came back, stuff like that. So once he gets off on that first-degree murder, you can never bring this no, you can bring no more charges against him ever when it comes to murder because that's double jeopardy at that point. So that's why they go after them with second degree and manslaughter and all of that type of stuff.
Gotcha.
I know that either. That's very interesting. No, but that's a very interesting perspective because, like you said, we see it every day, and it seems like it's the same story over and over. But now, like when you pull back the curtain from, like I said, your perspective, it kind of like sheds some more light. Like you said, to your point, that's why he appeared to be so calm doing what he was doing, and it's the sick reality of it. You know what I mean? Because you got so many others thinking like him and acting like him. So it's very interesting from that perspective that you just introduced. It's eye-opening.
Yeah, if you get a chance, just review qualified immunity, and you're gonna be like, "This is why all these cops keep getting off." That's literally the reason why. So people been petitioning to get rid of qualified immunity because that's what saved them every time.
That's great. Could you imagine like being like in his mindset? Because this whole time he probably thinks like, I'm about to get off.
Did you see his face?
Oh, he was shocked. He was.
I mean, he had his mask on, but I'm sure that mouth was open behind it. Like, what? Like, I'm guilty. Yeah, you're guilty.
That's why. Like, he really probably thought like, it's cool. I'm about to skate. Crazy.
You sat on a man's neck for 9 minutes, and then did you know that they knew each other before? Like they know each other. They work together as
like
bodyguards and
bouncers?
stuff, and bouncers. And he used to, I guess, like George Floyd used to kind of be checking him when he would be doing like crazy stuff to people in the clubs or the bars or wherever it was they was working. So he already had like a vengeance against him. To me, that could have been first degree murder because that seemed premeditated. You knew him. You already had issues with him. Now you just killed him. But it's just safer not to go with first degree.
Well, I just want to, you got anything? Because I don't got nothing else.
You sure? I'm good. I had another question.
Okay.
Being in the position that you are, do you feel pressure, like to uphold a certain level of like just uphold a certain standard, like being a woman, a black woman, like practicing law?
Or what new standard you want to set?
Yeah.
I would definitely want to set a new standard. So, I did good in law school. I graduated cum laude, so I could go off and just apply to these jobs and, try to assimilate and fit the culture of those jobs. But I don't want to. I feel like I want to be myself. I want to be comfortable. I like to talk how I talk. I like to move how I move. I like the music I listen to and stuff. So I want to paint a different picture of what we expect a lawyer to look like, you know. I still like to go out from time to time, have drinks with my friends and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people get into the legal field and they have to pretend to be this person. They not just to maintain this image of a lawyer. But I think not even just me, my generation of lawyers, like even on Twitter and stuff, TikTok, all of that, like we just kind of different now. Like people just more themselves. They not acting. I feel like a lot of lawyers from the past, they just had to act. Like they had to act to fit in, especially black lawyers. Like it's already hard to become a lawyer, and then you want to get a job, so you're going to do what it takes to get that job, right? Nah, I don't want to go into an interview and have to put on this fake voice and do, you know, it's little things. Like I couldn't have this color in my hair trying to go into one of those firms. Wow. My hair has to be straight going into one of those interviews. I have to have on a full suit with a white collared shirt, button up. I can't have these long nails. They can't be white. Just that type of stuff is like, I feel like you taking away from my entire image. So I feel like in college, I felt pressure. Like I was just like, dang, you know, I had a friend, she did even better than me in law school, and she's working at one of the biggest law firms in Houston, the second ranked law firm in Houston, making a lot of money a year. But it's like, you have to put on this fake persona to do that. And it's like, I feel like that would just drive me crazy at work every day. Like, and then those jobs too, they don't tell you they work like 70 hours a week and stuff like that. It's crazy. They make a lot of money, but they work. And I felt pressure in law school though. Like, I'm like, dang, you know, I was cutting my nails down, changing the color. I started straightening my hair more. I normally wear curly or natural. I always kept it black, or I stopped wearing long weave. They don't like you to wear long weave. Stop wearing my heels so high. They want your heels to be shorter. And I just felt like this is just not me. Like this type of work environment is not going to make me happy. And I'm sure I could make the same type of money on my own outside of here. It might take me a little longer, but I'm sure I could do it. So that was the pressure that I felt, but I don't feel it no more.
What you said kind of, you probably won't know because you don't got Twitter. What's that viral lawyer or attorney who
I know he's talking about, but I don't know his name. Yeah.
Does the TikTok videos. Mm-hmm. He catches a lot of flack with people saying, "Oh, you're supposed to be a lawyer. I wouldn't hire you because here you are making TikTok videos." But I'm just like,
human being.
Human being.
Like, is he not supposed to have a life?
But it seems like he's obviously good at what he's doing.
Yeah, because he's making money.
Because he's making money. Yeah. So like, I can either listen to you by saying he shouldn't be doing this, or the guy who's getting clients left and right.
Yeah, it remind me, like, I had people in school telling me, like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, I'm out here, I'm in Texas by myself. I don't know nobody out here. Everybody I know is the people that I go to school with. I have no family or nothing out here. I literally came out here for school. So for a minute, I was starting to listen to them people like, oh, maybe I do need to do this and I do need to do that. And then it's just like, no, this not me. Like, I'm good. I don't have to do that. But I feel like there's a lot of law students who still currently think that way. And I just remember, like, I had referenced Cardi B. I'm like, look at Cardi B. This girl was a whole stripper, like, you know, and she don't mind saying that. And you can go on the internet and see old videos of her stripping. And then, you know, she booking top Vogue covers, all of that now. And guess what? She's still her crazy self. Like, she don't care. Nothing's changed about her. So I'm like, and she's a millionaire. So it's just like, I feel like through her, like watching her, looking at her, like, and I was following her on Instagram back when she was a stripper and she was living in the projects before people even knew who she was.
With the teeth.
Yeah, so I watched her glow up, literally. But guess what? Nothing changed about her personality. Yeah. Like, she remained herself, and she on. Like, she's on. Yeah. Everybody wants to book her right now. Right. She went to the fashion show throwing shoes at Nicki Minaj, and everybody like, oh, it's over with you, for you now. Yeah. No, she's still ranking number one. Like, you doing even better now. Was the Anna Wintour, all of them big time people out there, they want to work with her, and she's still her crazy ratchet self. So that's how I was just like, no, I'm still gonna be myself, and I'm sure I'll still be successful.
The previous president of the United States was very much himself when he became the president.
And his wife was a porn star, so it's just like, you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever, man.
Yeah.
5 to 10 years, where do you see Jaleesha Walker?
Take my question.
Stay out my head.
I'm definitely going to be a millionaire.
Hey.
Speaking into existence.
Hopefully I'm married. Hopefully. You know, I'm single. Y'all come save me. No, I'm kidding.
You better watch out. She just told us something.
Oh, yeah, disclaimer. That may come with some danger.
I I hope to have kids by then, and I just hope to be happy. You know, like I've done a lot of traveling already. I haven't made all the money that I want to make, and then I'm the only person in my family to go this far, so I definitely want to be able to make sure all of my family is good. I got like I can't count on my hand how many little cousins I got, but like every time I come home, it's so funny. They just come to me like, "You rich? We know you rich. You rich?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "Yeah, you are. Can you take us here? Can you take us there?" And like since I've been here, like I've been taking them to do stuff that they normally can't do. Like I've been taking them shopping to get. I'm like, pick out whatever shoes you want or whatever stuff like that, and then they just get so happy, so excited, and I love seeing that. So that's what I want to do for them, and just. Really, I want to focus on them, like making sure they're good. Those kind of like my kids away from home or whatever. So making sure they're doing good in school, making sure they get to college, like that's my focus. Definitely building up my athletic clientele. I guess in the pandemic, I haven't really had the opportunity to get to like games and stuff like I want to, but just meeting more athletes so I can have more clients behind my belt and hopefully now being a good mentor to more people. Anybody need a mentor, hit me up. And yeah, that's where I see myself.
You see she left the door open. We'll be hitting you up. We need a mentor.
Okay.
Got anything else, bro?
I'm good.
Thank you so much. This was dope. This is definitely one of my favorite interviews.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is dope, man.
I like I said, open door policy. You can come in whenever you're back in town from whatever you're doing. You want to come back and kick it, talk it up.
Definitely. Thank y'all for having me, for even asking me to come. I feel special.
We ain't special. Yeah, but bookmark this interview though, because this might be, like I said, 5-10 years from now when you that millionaire.
Started right here.
Yeah, this is where we started.
All right, y'all. This has been episode, I think, 31 of the Here to Speak podcast. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.